Hello, Guidely family. Welcome back, Marcia Wieder. I'm so excited to have you here today. I know that we had a few technical difficulties our last interview a few weeks ago, so we were very excited to have you back joining us today. If you aren't familiar with Marcia, for over 30 years, she's been respected as a global thought leader on visionary thinking and manifesting dreams. After a 4-year sabbatical, she is now taking her body of work to the next level, teaching us how to create at a level of mastery. Welcome, Marcia.
Thanks, Shannon. So I'm hearing a lot of crackling and crunching, so you might just check with your team and see how the audio sounds and make sure we're okay.
All right, sounds good. I hear it when I'm talking. I don't hear it when you're talking. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
I'll do all the talking.
Okay, perfect.
It's great.
Again, welcome, Marcia, and
thanks.
Okay, how's this sound?
It's still doing it.
Still a little crackly. I will pass it over to you, Marcia. Thank you for joining us.
I just was saying I'm happy to be here. This is my first live interview in 4 years. So it's a re-entry, and how exciting to do it with Guidely and with so many of my friends, fans, and new friends. So thanks for joining us.
So excited to have you. So what have the last 4 years, what have you been up to? Oh my gosh, it's so crackly.
We can take the whole call and talk about that. Well, I love that your name is Guidely, because I often talk about feeling guided. So I was really at the top of my career and received guidance that just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should continually do it. And I pulled the plug and moved to Rome, Italy, and surrendered all of my identities. At that time, I was no longer a speaker, author, coach, trainer, workshop conductor, or even mystery school teacher. Just put it all down and spent a couple of years immersed in beauty, traveling all over Italy, which was extraordinary, eating way too much pasta and gelato, drinking lots of great wine, but basically emptying and discerning and looking at what might be next for me. Although I wasn't asking that question too often, I was just in the joyful and joyous experience of not working. People thought I would last 3 months, and I lasted 3 years. And then about a year ago, I started hearing the rap, tap, tap on my window again, that it was time to come back. But I have discovered that I'm no longer who I was, and I'm still becoming who I'm becoming. So I don't know exactly who I am. So it feels pretty bold, I'll say, if I say so myself, to intend to share a message about how to create like God, when at one level, I don't know fully who I am or exactly what is mine to do. I'm not going back into being who I was, because I'm no longer that. So for many years, I was a personal growth and development teacher. Third chakra work, let's identify what's not working and fix it. The last 3 years of my teaching, when I led something called the Meaning Institute for 100 extraordinary souls, it was really about returning to our essence and knowing who we are. And that's where I left off when I unplugged. So I had a couple of years of meditating in the Pantheon. I learned a very important skill that, if there's time, I intend to teach on this call. And I learned to listen. And that's really it. I listened. And so when the invitation came to join you and Guidely for this very special call, it felt like the right time. So I humbly ask for compassion and forgiveness. I don't have my language all buttoned up like I did at one time in the past. I've never been a script and memorize kind of gal, so that's not different. But as I said, the message is still forming and formulating through me. So I'll do my best to share what I can.
That's incredible. Now, I know we want to focus on the future and really talk about what's coming, but I'm just curious, I know you're the creator and founder of Dream University. What is, or what was Dream University? Just a quick little recap.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, for 30 years, I developed a body of work teaching people basically the ABCs of manifestation. We call them the CBAs. How to get clear about first who you are, and then what is yours to do. What are your dreams? What do you and don't you want? Working with people to remove their fears and limiting beliefs, and then design brilliant shortcuts and action steps. So it was live courses, live programs, and now is strictly online, dreamuniversity.com, where people can develop learn the skills and develop the tools and find all kinds of free resources to help you achieve any personal or professional dream. The Meaning Institute was like the graduate program, because the dream that I heard more than any other was, I want to know that my life matters. I want to know that it's meaningful. As a matter of fact, in case you can't stay on for this entire interview, here's a link to some gifts, a package. It's called It's Time. 3 very powerful tools that will sum up everything that I taught for 30 years in a short video, an ebook, and a 3-hour training. Just go to dreamuniversity.com/guidely, your name, dreamuniversity.com/guidely, GUIDELY, and you'll receive the It's Time package. And that will give you a lot of the foundational work that I have been teaching that actually got me here. So if you're tuned into this call today and you've done any work with me, possibly the Meaning Institute, or maybe one of my online courses, or you became a certified dream coach through my methodology, you'll hear some of that in today's talk, because what I've been shown is that everything that I was teaching for the last 30 years was the foundation for this next thing that I am here to teach or to speak about in whatever form it reveals itself. So there's definitely I got to where I could. Then I took some time to empty and to listen and to clear away and to be more discerning. And now that I'm reemerging, as the new improved, one can only hope. I picked up where I left off and have taken it to a whole nother level, which is how to create like God. So I think what's worth saying is, I know many of you tried to tune in a few weeks ago when we tried to do this call, and everything went wrong. Mercury was in retrograde. I don't know if that's your thing or not, but
it is
we had technology issues, we had timing issues, we had logistics issues, all kinds of technical issues. And I just took it as a sign that either I wasn't ready or it wasn't the right time. And I had already surrendered that if today didn't happen because of technical issues or technology or the stars, then I would just surrender that it wasn't the right time to go public with this message. So far, so good. But I promise if you stay on for the call, you'll get some really good, practical, usable stuff, content and practices that you can use to create and manifest like God.
Now that is a very gutsy title, Create Like God. And I say gutsy because when we had the event a few weeks ago and we tried to promote it on Facebook, they would not allow us because it's a little bit, it's like, wow, this is a little taboo. It's a little comfortable. And when you first told us the title, Create Like God, it was like, I felt it. So I'd love to start there and talk about, what that phrase means to you. And
probably 20 years ago, I grabbed the URL, ispeakforgod.com, and I never had the guts to use it. And it's not even that I speak for God. It's that each of us, we are God in some form, right? So you can insert in whatever word works for you: God, spirit, source, consciousness. But what I know in my bones is that we were created to create. And we are co-creators, other people talk about that, with this creation. And everything that we can see, feel, and touch. And by the way, what I taught in the Meaning Institute were the mysteries of life, the things that you can't see, touch, and taste, like love and compassion and power and shadow work. All of that, if it's in our awareness, if we can think about it or talk about it, it's part of the creation. So at a very simple level, this conversation invites you to believe that you are a creator. You're creating your own reality. Whether it's something as simple as I moved into a beautiful new home and I wanted it to be an oasis. And within 30 days, I created gorgeous gardens. And it wasn't easy because there was no water available. So I had to get creative, but I created it. And that was a reminder to me that if I can create at that level, that if I can imagine something, that if I can dream up something, if I can feel my longing and desire in my own heart, and then put myself in right relationship, intention, and integrity, then this is where the magic can occur. And I know even that word magic is loaded for people, but if we, for me, I've been for 30 years teaching us how to manifest our dreams. And at one level, I've been teaching you how to create. And I think what I'm doing now is I'm just more fully embodying. We are creators. We are part of the creation. We are here to create with this beautiful creation called life. And at the highest level, this is divinity. So that's really what it's about. At one level, I mean, it does come down to what you think and feel and believe and how you hold these truths to be self-evident. I mean, how you hold these truths for yourself. But I know myself to be a divine being. I know that I am the light or a carrier of this light through the expression of love. But I am light and so are you. I am a creator and so are you. And there's really no other. We're all part of this beautiful, great creation. And we can contribute to creating the kind of reality and the kind of world that we truly long for. Now, it's not really magical. It's not an instantaneous, absolute guaranteed thing. And I'll give you an example. Once I created my beautiful garden, I thought, well, if I'm able to create like that, what if I used my God-given gifts and talents as a creator to raise the standards? So I started focusing on the election, and I started seeing the candidates that I chose. Right, wrong, and different. I chose my candidates, and I not only saw them in the White House. I used to live near the White House, so I saw the walls come down. I saw my candidates walking across the street in the People's Park, smiling and shaking hands, and there was no fear conversation. And to be very honest, the candidates that I envisioned won. According to my reality, they won the election. Now, at the same time, I also had a dream, a vision, a creation that Ruth Bader Ginsburg would live to see the new president sworn in, and the next day she would retire. And that dream didn't come true. So it's not, there's a bigger plan going on than my own desires to create. Because people could easily say, well, it didn't work 100% of the time. It's like, well, I trust life. And my practice is to be in integrity with life and to use my gifts in service to life, in service to the creation. So I want to talk about some of the skills and the practices that are required in order to be able to create like God or the goddess or the creation or spirit or source or whatever it is that works for you.
So I have a question, and I think this may lead into where you're heading next. Is two words you said earlier really stuck out to me: intention and integrity. And you use them together like they're, two hands on the same body, two arms. And I'd love to explore those together and kind of what this
I'm
means.
so grateful we're starting there. So integrity is one of the principles I have always been on my soapbox about. And I've been shown through the work that I've been doing the last few years is that without integrity, without a pure heart, and I'll come back to the intention and integrity piece in just a second. But if your heart is not in the right place, you do not get the keys to the kingdom. You are not given free reign to just go and create because you're a danger to yourself and to others. So intention is the rudder that steers the course and the direction of our life and our dreams. But intention without integrity, well, you know what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So often we say we want one thing, that's our intention. I'm going to get healthy and physically fit. And therefore, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week. And then there's this integrity piece where I maybe don't do what I say, or I do nothing. So if I say my intention is to go to the gym 3 times this week and I never go, this is a source of great suffering. I am eroding self-trust. And my ability to be trustworthy is paramount to my ability to manifest, especially at a high level. So even in the dream coach certification, the first step is intention and the second step is integrity. So intention and integrity together form the core building block for manifestation. We want to live our life like this, aligned, right? Intention and integrity going in the same direction. So integrity at a simple level is keeping our agreements with ourselves and others. But integrity at our soul level has to do with knowing your purpose, your mission, and calling, having the courage to be discerning enough to say no more, no thank you, or no way to what's no longer true or what's out of integrity with your heart and soul, so that you do build up greater self-trust and greater trust where people see that they can trust you as well, which is a critical component for manifesting your dreams.
Wow. So I love that concept of self-trust. And, when you sent over the talking points and we went back and forth with this, the first one really stuck out to me. And I'd love to kind of, unpack this in this context, but to understand
I knew what it was.
and understand the power of clarifying what you truly want based on who you really are. And I heard you say early on in this interview just today that you're still becoming, you're still figuring out this next level. So when we're in that germination period, how can we get clarity? How can we really drop into who we really are at a soul level, even as we're morphing and growing and blooming?
Yeah. Well, the practice is discernment, the ability to say no more, no thank you, by first knowing who I am. So if I know what my values are, that really becomes my rudder and my guidance for saying more of this and less of that. When people are trying to discover their purpose or their dreams, I often will remind them to remember that childhood game when you were getting closer to something. People would say warm, warm, hot, hot, cold, freezing. So it's the same kind of thing, like to watch your energy as you're moving toward your purpose. You're going to feel more fired up. Now, fear can get in the way, and that can color and confuse things as well. But as we separate out the dream and the doubt, and you clear away what's no longer true for you, you can begin to follow yourself home. So I am an advocate of meditation and getting still and listening. I am an advocate of saying no to the things in your life that you're complaining about. We don't always have a choice, but when someone asks you to do something, if you don't have to do it and you don't want to do it, consider saying no, thank you, which also, by the way, builds greater self-trust. And nothing activates this internal voice of the doubter, the part that says, you can't do that, that's a bad idea, than saying you're going to do something and not doing it. Mm-hmm. So catching yourself in the act of saying something while you're thinking, I'm never going to do that. I would prefer that you put on the proverbial pause button and say, I know I just said I would, but the truth of it is I don't want to, and I'm not going to. So let's renegotiate and let's look at what will work for both of us. So along the way, building up greater self-trust by saying no to what's no longer true and moving more and more on that path of warm and hot. The practice of discovering who we are is critical, because I can't even tell you how many thousands of people I've met who have climbed to the top of the mountain only to discover it's the wrong mountain. So we begin the work of discovering our purpose. Who am I? That's what I talk about with purpose. I was one of the first people to talk about purpose long before Rick Warren, long before most people knew what it was, because I was on the path myself. And I realized that even though where dreams come from, like creations, is you make them up. If I don't first know who I am and haven't discerned and looked through the lens of my values and what truly matters to me, I can often pursue something just because I'm excited about it. So enthusiasm can be very seductive. I'm watching it right now. There's a huge opportunity in front of me and I'm quite excited about it, but I can't use that as my only determining factor. I've got to go in. I need to journal with myself. I need to hear from different parts, my dreamer, my doubter, my visionary. I need to check in with God. And I've been journaling with God for over 30 years. Books, M for Marcia, G for God. And I go to this higher level of source to get guidance and wisdom. And then when I act on it, that helps me trust myself more fully, which brings us back to, I'm trying to find the camera here, intention and integrity. So the practice of living in alignment with who we are, easier said than done. I mean, discovering who we are, people spend their whole lifetime in the inquiry of that. But there are certain things you can do. You can look and see where have you been passionate in the past and look for a pattern. You can look at if it was the end of your life and we had to put something brief on your tombstone, what might that be to really sum up who you have been? What you do with your purpose, those are your dreams. Who you are and how you live your life, that's the expression of your purpose. And all of us at one level have a God-given purpose. Our purpose is to love and be loved. And then each of us has been wounded or changed or impacted or formed in different ways through our life experience, through our mistakes, through our lessons, experiences, and opportunities. And that has formed you to be uniquely you. So I think it's an ongoing purpose. I mean, an ongoing exploration to discover our purpose. But those are good places to start. The last book that I published called Dream, simply Dream. I love it because the first sentence of that book, it took me 15 books to get this sentence. Dream is a verb. Now, it's also a noun. We can have a dream, but to dream, that's integrity at a soul level. To know who you are and what is yours to do and to live in alignment with that, that's living your life as a creator. That's living your life as a divine being. And from there, you can create like God. So purpose, who you are, dreams, what you choose to do with it. And the whole thing is an exploration.
That's incredible. So my question was going to be, and I think you shared a couple, but we have a couple more examples for our audience of really discovering who you are and your core values. When we've been conditioned, and there's so much good, and maybe we have years of layers on top. We said gosh, I hear that clicking. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's very hard to understand what you're saying, actually.
Gosh. But I'm just going to finish this question. Was the tombstone journaling with God? Do you have a couple other, ways that we can unpack that? Yeah.
So one is, think of 3 times in your life you were passionate. Oh, I started to say the dream book in the chapter on purpose actually outlines 5 exercises for discovering your purpose. One is the direct source. Go ask God or some part of you that has the answer. For some people, they have instant access. For other people, they don't believe it's possible, so it's not their route. For people that are a little bit more logical, more left brain, 3 times in your life you felt passionate and alive, and look for a common thread. In all 3 examples, were you teaching or learning? Were you taking risks? Were you being of service? That will point you toward your purpose. The tombstone, the end of your life. How do you want to remember? There's also going back to the beginning of your life to see how you were wounded as a child, because that often informs our purpose. So there's just a whole bunch of ways to discover your purpose. But since this call is really about how to create like God, I suggest try asking God. So we do a process called active imagination or voice dialogue, where you actually can journal with God. You write, if it was me, I am from Marcia. So God, what's my purpose? God would say, are you sure you want to hear it? Marcia, yeah, I'm really eager to hear it. God, well, if I show you your purpose, are you going to take action to live into it? Marcia, I'm not sure. You're scaring me. God, well, maybe you need to do some work around your fear before I actually tell you what your purpose is. Conversations like that.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it.
I've done enough of that work to know what the conversation is typically, but always willing for it to shift. Part of being a creator is to allow life to lead. And one of the required reading books in my mystery school was The Intention Experiment. And basically, Mickey Singer wrote in that book, he basically said that he assumed that life knew better. So he had a practice of letting life inform him what he should do. That's living your life as a creator. There's a beautiful lyric my dear friend Tara Davina sings in one of her songs. The only thing that could happen is the best thing that could happen. When we start to adopt these kinds of beliefs, and, even if it's just as an exploration to try it on, we start to identify ourselves more as a creator. That when something happens in life, I can choose to whine and complain about it. I can choose to have a sense of humor about it. I can choose to take a couple of direct breaths and ask for guidance. I can journal and ask for 5 different solutions to a problem. I mean, there's so much more to living our lives as a creator than right, wrong, yes, no, today or tomorrow. So much more. And I will tell you, since I started adopting this, I look younger, I feel younger, I'm healthier. I live in Portugal. I do wear a mask when I'm out in public. I do try to be respectful and considerate of all the craziness that's going on, but I feel healthy. I feel great. And part of that is a choice that I've made. So if you're the creator of your life, what choice would you make today? One choice that you would make if you assumed that the only thing that could happen is the best thing that could happen. And all you have to choose or decide is how you want to engage with it. That could be a great practice for you to take away with from this right now.
Yeah, incredible. So I keep eyeballing one of the other talking points here, and I'd like to jump into that one, is how to overcome doubt, fear, and other limiting beliefs. So we're no longer stopped by these perceived obstacles.
Yeah, so remember, nothing stops the doubter faster than saying you're going to do something and not doing it. It keeps a file. It's like, oh, all those times you said you were going to act on your dream and you didn't, and you were going to clean up your room and you didn't, and you were going to eat healthier and you didn't. And the doubter starts to become more empowered than the dreamer or the creator inside of us. So we have many different parts inside of ourselves. We have an adolescent, we have a wise man or woman, we have a sage, we have a priest, we have a needy little child, we have a belligerent adolescent. We have many, many different parts, including a dreamer and a doubter. And the dreamer says, yes, you can. And the doubter says, no, you can't. Or the doubter says, I don't think that's a good idea. So people are often afraid of their own fear or fear voices, or afraid of, or they discount or dismiss or ignore the doubter.
I lost sound. Anyone else here? They lost sound. We lost audio. Same, everyone's saying it. Oh no. Let's refresh. Let me see. Let me refresh. Can you guys hear me? It's back. It's back. Okay, let's see.
1, 2, 3. I am here.
Okay. Okay, you're back. You're back. Let's see.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And Shannon, I'm not hearing your scratching anymore.
Oh, wonderful. And now they're saying we can hear you, but not Marcia. No, Marcia, but we can hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can they hear me now? I'm
Yes.
talking.
Yes, everyone's good.
Thank you. guys. Okay, listen, if God doesn't want us to have this conversation, she's going to shut it down.
And that was, and I could see you, and I was like, wow, this looks really exciting, but nothing. Oh my gosh.
I'll go back. I know how to go back on this one.
Great. And I'm so glad the feedback has resolved itself. So thank you.
Okay. So far, so good. So we're just going to surrender and trust the process. Mm-hmm. So what I was saying is that we have many different parts. We have a dreamer that says, yes, I can, and a doubter who says, no, I can't. If we turn the doubter down, it becomes the realist. The realist wants to know, what's the plan? Where are you going to get the time and the money? But in the early phases of the dream, you may not have it all figured out. But if you have to go to strategy, you'll compromise the dream down. And although that's not a bad thing, that's not what this talk is about. This talk is about being the highest level creator and manifester that you can be. So every part serves a sacred function. So the question is, what's the sacred role of the doubter? Mm-hmm. The doubter will give you your list of obstacles. Every obstacle that you could imagine is either a limiting belief, something that you believe about yourself, life, or your dream, or something that requires a strategy or a plan. Like maybe you need money, or you need someone to help you, or or there's a skill that you need to develop that you haven't quite developed yet. So one of the ways we can work with this is as we get in touch with our dreams, especially our bigger dreams, the doubter is usually nearby. There seems to be a sacred relationship between the dreamer and the doubter, right? But it's really a question of which one do you want to put in the driver's seat. So the doubter is useful. Many people want to get rid of it. And like a screaming child, if you turn your back on it, it's either going to get so loud that that's all you hear, or it's going to get so soft that it can unconsciously sabotage your dream. Mm-hmm. So we want to hear from it. Before we turn the voice of the doubter down to hear what the realist is saying, we want to turn it up. Your doubter will give you your list of obstacles. Often they're things like, I don't know how to do that, or I failed before and I'll fail again, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I don't know how to do it, or I'm just afraid, or my family's going to kill me, or all of those things go down on your obstacles list. Then you go through and you put a B before the ones that are beliefs, an S before the ones that are strategies. Some of them get a B and an S.
I love
BS
that.
list. Now, those of you that have worked with me know that I've been teaching this piece of technology for a long time. Mm-hmm. But there's another level to it, and it really has to do with what's in your heart. Your ability to trust yourself, which, by the way, was the promise of the Meaning Institute. But this is not a sales pitch because I don't offer it anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can get the gift, dreamuniversity.com/guidely, and those will give you a lot of the tools. But at the Meaning Institute, the promise was you'll trust yourself on a deeper level. Well, it took me a few years after leaving the mystery school / the Meaning Institute to understand more fully that we must completely trust ourselves and our hearts in order to create or manifest like God. I used to say that before I die, my dream was to say apple, and an apple would appear. And I moved into this apartment and I said, garden oasis, and a garden oasis appeared. And I realized that although I've been blessed to know how to manifest and became better at it by teaching it. That's why I encouraged people to buy the Dream Coach certification course, even if you didn't want to be a certified coach, because the best way to learn something is to teach it. Mm-hmm. And the more I taught it, the more I learned. And by the way, then I had to take some time off and not teach for a while for everything to land and excuse me, and to deepen inside myself. And as I said, I'm still becoming more of who I'm becoming. But the ongoing practice of being truthful, of honoring my word and commitments, of not letting myself be hijacked by my doubter. These are all my skills that are showing me that I know and believe and trust that I am a creator, just like the great creator, as are you. If you're tuned into this call at some level, you know that God is within. And it's a tricky thing because there's a thin line between I am God and I am God, mm-hmm. right? So this is not an egotistical conversation. And I truly believe that if you are evil, you won't get the keys to the kingdom. And there's different levels of evil. If you're terrorizing yourself by saying terrible things to yourself, that's evil. You know, if you're continually doubting yourself because you're not seeing enough evidence that your dream is a good idea, try another tactic. You know, if you're not sharing your dream with other people, articulating it because you're afraid if you tell them, they're going to expect you to do something about it, you're not living at the highest level of integrity. And ultimately, this is what it comes down to. And I know that this is another one of the talking points, and I'm just going to jump off to. I had the privilege some years ago of being in Australia and meeting some Aboriginal elders. And of course, I was writing a book about dreams because that's all I've been doing for the last 35 years. Not all, but that's been the backdrop of everything I've been doing. So when I heard about this concept of dream time, I knew I needed to learn more about it. And I was given an incredible honor of sitting with some Aboriginal elders. And I asked them, please tell me about dream time. And I'll paraphrase, but this is what I was told. They believe that if you can dream it, you can manifest it. They believe if you can imagine it, that if you can create it here, you can create it in your life. And they don't distinguish between nighttime dreams and waking dreams. If you can dream it, if you can imagine it, if you can see it, you can create it. And I asked them, I said, how does that work?
Yeah.
And here's the answer I was given. An elder said to me, it's because we don't lie. We don't lie. We live at the highest level of integrity. We know that we can speak creation into being because our word exists as real. And that's the highest level of integrity. So if we're being hijacked by our doubts and fears, if we're feeling insecure because we're not trustworthy, because we know we don't keep our agreements with ourselves and other people, these are the basic building blocks for being able to develop greater muscle, to trust life more fully, to surrender to the beauty and magic of life, to bring ourselves fully as co-creators in service to this creation. That's how we can create like God.
Wow. Wow. I love that. And comments are, if you can manifest it during the day or night, love this. We're getting some great comments on this. That was
But
you've
got to do your work. You got to clean up your house. It's so funny. These are the concepts that I was teaching 30 years ago, but I have more passion and vigor around it than ever because we can create a different world. We can create a world of beauty and peace. There's more than enough food to go around. There's a reason that I've chosen to invest my money and my time and resources in building schools in Kenya. I've helped build 14 with the Unstoppable Foundation, and many of you were part of contributing to that vision as well. We can make a difference. And each time we take a step and we see it, we need to breathe that back in. Yes, that was part of my dream. That was part of my creation. I imagined it and I created that, or I contributed to creating that, and then do it again and do more of it. And is it 100%? No. I wasn't able to keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg alive. I don't hold it like that in my heart. I hold it that I gave everything that I had, and I'm still learning how to manifest like God. And it's, and God, there's a bigger plan. A lot of this conversation comes down to, what do you believe in? How do you hold creator and creation? What is your relationship to God? Is it up there? Is it in here? Is it everywhere? I can't answer that for you, but I can tell you the tools that I have been honored with being a wisdom keeper and carrier for. It can be used at a higher level. And when I wrote my very first book, I was on Oprah in the 90s. The book was called Making Your Dreams Come True. And it became the foundation for the Dream Coach work, for Dream University, even ultimately for the Meaning Institute. And I can tell you that at a very basic level, those concepts were right. But even in the first book I wrote, I'm not writing this book for you to manifest new stuff. Yes, you can use it to get new houses and cars, and people have used it to have babies and to write best-selling books and lose weight and all kinds of double and triple their income. People have used it for all that stuff. But I created, how about this? I was created to remind you that you are a creator and that together we can create a very different world, a very different reality. And it's never been a better or more important time for us to use our God-given gifts and skills, or who we are as creators, in service to creating a better world. The world is ready. And the way that we get more ready is by cleaning up our messes. Stop breaking your agreements. Make bigger promises, not smaller promises. Live in integrity with your soul. Do the work, whatever that is for you, to know who you are and who you are becoming. And daily, do the simple practice of plugging in to spirit and source. It's one of the most important skills that I taught at the Meaning Institute. And here's how you do it. You put your feet on the earth and you breathe up Mother. Deep gratitude for your breath. Breathe her up through your feet, through your legs, through your chakras, your root chakra, your sex chakra, your third, your heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown. See the energy go up from the earth, up to the heavens. And then open your crown and breathe down the energy from the cosmos and from God and spirit, the energy down through your crown and third eye and throat and heart and all through your lower chakras down into the earth. And then with light touch at your heart center, see if you can do both. Breathe the energy of Father and Mother, the energy of heaven and earth, the energy of spirit and source into your beautiful temple of the heart. And open your heart to the qualities of the heart. Compassion for yourself and all things. Open to unconditional love, to the healing presence and innate harmony, the calm within the chaos. So regardless of what's going on out there, you still have the ability to create your reality, and your relationship to that creation is in your hands and in your heart. So just breathe, opening to the qualities of the heart, and from inside here, dream. Open to a vision, an image, a symbol, a feeling, an idea, what matters to you, and imbue it with your faith and your confidence. I believe in my dream. I believe in myself and my ability to manifest this dream. And I trust life to use me to manifest this dream here and now with the highest possible good. Because there's the dream you have for your life, and then there's the dream that life has for you. And when they meet, that's a magical creation. So we breathe in and out one more time. You can let all that go. You'll be able to re-watch this and listen to this and do it slower and at your own pace. But hey, you can do it while you're sitting on a toilet before you go into a meeting, or you before you pick up the phone to make an important call, or before you go to sleep, or when you first wake up. Open your heart. Bring the divinity and the creation from Mother and Father and heaven and earth into your beautiful heart, and know that you are a divine creator, and that you and we were created to create. And it's time.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So
we threw that in.
I know, I loved it. It really felt very.
I'm on Portugal time, but my phone says 444, and I'm going, it's like a little sprinkling. We have different belief systems. Some people believe in angels. Some people believe in guides. Some people are very connected to their ancestors. Some of us are just connected to ourselves and our own little world. Some of us are connected to the plants. Some of us are connected to the animal world. Life is so much bigger than us. And the creation, this is it. So as you look around your home right now, do you see beauty or do you see mess? Do you see, and maybe for you, mess is a sign that you're a creator. Find your way. Exactly. Find your way to create your creation and practice, 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 practice creating and celebrate and gratitude. These are all the qualities that make us a creator.
So I would love to, if we do create like God, and I think we've established that we do and we can, then we must assume that we have created our surroundings, right? And maybe it is our house and it's our mess, or it's the situation we're in, or the relationships in our life, and I'd like to take it out to kind of a global perspective. The pandemic or the virus, whichever way you want to look at it, the lockdowns, the unrest that's happening. And I'd like to get your take on the collective creation of what's happening in 2020.
Everything that's happening is the best thing that can happen.
Oh,
look, none of us, look.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps when you said that.
I mean, there's a lot of things that any of us can look back on and say, how did God let that happen? How in God's name? How often do we say that? How in God's name did that happen, right? But if we start with the assumption that we are creators and that we do have a hand in the creation, we might ask different questions that aren't blaming questions. Questions like, what can I learn from this? And how can I grow from this? And what is this inviting me to learn? And what is this showing me? And if we can move from, this is a personal practice that I have, instead of being judgmental and critical, to be curious, life changes. So I believe in practices. Anytime there's a skill you're wanting to develop, or a behavior you're wanting to modify or change, personal practice, right? So if I want to get physically fit, I go to the gym 3 times a week, which I don't. If I want to have greater inner peace, I meditate more regularly. If I want to be more of a creator, I practice creating. So, those of you that have a doubter that tends to come in often and loudly, you could develop a simple practice where once a day you're going to light a candle, you're going to hear from your doubter and get its obstacles list. If you turn toward the thing that you want to turn away from, and actually, if you can find appreciation and gratitude for it, the energy shifts, the relationship shifts. So we can be a victim to life and say, hey, this happened to me, or I don't know why, or why does this keep happening? That is, it's a perspective that many people have chosen and continue to choose. But I want you to know it's a choice. It's all a choice. So I can't necessarily uncreate, I don't think, the pandemic. I don't think I can, to tell you the truth, I never really tried. I did try focusing on the election, and that turned out in a very interesting way for me. It certainly changed my mindset on who I am as a creator. And even though it didn't work 100% across the board, I thought, oh, I have more skill to develop and there's more for me to practice. That's how I took that. Not like, oh, it only works half the time.
Right.
So our interpretation, the meaning that we assign, of course, we know we're meaning making machines, and, we can assign meaning to anything. And if you can stay in beginner's mind and with gratitude and appreciation, and I'm learning and I'm practicing, that whatever life delivers to you, even something horrific, I mean, obviously people losing jobs and people dying and, questioning our freedom and our health and our safety, this is bringing up a whole new level of engagement and conversation that personally I'm excited about. I'm also a little afraid of it. I certainly get nervous when I watch what's going on in the world, but when I find that fear go into I breathe, I remember that I trust life. I come back to my own heart and I say, well, what is it that I want to create here? Oh, I want to create wisdom and learning and confidence. I've asked people in Portugal, they lived through a very severe crisis here, financial crisis back in, I don't even remember, I think early 2000. So they started talking about the COVID crisis. And I reframed that. I said, nope, this is the COVID opportunity. It's the COVID opportunity. And yesterday I was in a meeting with the CEO, a man who used to be the CEO of Coca-Cola in Asia. And he turned to me and he said, well, obviously, that the Chinese sign for crisis means opportunity. And I have forgotten that.
Wow.
But every time I correct someone, I say, no, this is not the COVID crisis. This is the COVID opportunity. And then I was out the other day and I heard somebody say it in public, somebody behind me, they're like, no, this is the COVID opportunity. And I went, I contributed to that creation. And if we can hold it that it's an opportunity for rethinking and recreating and trying new behaviors and different ways of being, even washing our hands, being more thoughtful about how we're interacting, what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're doing, what we're not saying and doing, how we're using our precious time when we are locked down quietly at home in our homes. I just think there's a whole mind shift, which is essential if you want to create like God, if you want to create as a true creator. You can't get caught up necessarily in the collective story. Sometimes I'll find myself feeling burdened or down or depressed or second guessing myself. And I'll check in, I'll go, I don't even think that's mine. And then I will quickly go, that's not mine. That's not mine. It's okay that I'm feeling it. Let me choose compassion as a response to that instead of meeting the fear with more fear. So there's no question. I don't think anyone listening to this call, whether you're live or listening to the playback, would argue with the point. We have choice over how we are going to engage with any creation that life drops us into or sets forth in front of us. We have complete choice about our mindset, our attitude, our belief, and from that, the choices and decisions and the actions that we take, because dream is a verb.
I would love to hear, we just kind of touched on the events of 2020 and what's, been probably the most impactful, pivotal year we'll look back on. Maybe we'll see what 2021 brings or ensuing, but I'd love to hear.
Well, so far, we could say so far.
The biggest gift that you've received or identified this last year.
I think we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because even though I've sprinkled in to my conversations and my teaching to think of ourselves as a co-creator, I never really saw before how the 30 years of my life's work, the body of work that I created for Dream University, I never thought that was the foundation for something else. I just thought it was what it was, because it's very whole and it's very comprehensive and it's very intact. And I love that so many of those principles are present here. But there's a whole new level that came through for me that at one level has to do with personal responsibility, but on another level is a very mystical, high level conversation. And that's why I say it depends. It depends what your frame of reference is. I've always taught a holistic approach to dreaming. We have to be visionary and creative and practical and strategic. If we're just vision without strategy, well, those are pretty much good ideas and creative things that maybe someday will happen, right? But if we're all strategy, we wind up compromising the dream down to only the things that we know are realistic. It's such an exciting time to be dreaming. I actually, a new dream has emerged for me, and it's so new. I'm waiting to see, am I just completely hijacked by the enthusiasm? Your ego can hijack your soul. And what we want, the practice, is to put our ego in service to our soul. I'm not one of these people who teaches that your ego is a bad thing and you should get rid of it, because I believe that everything serves a sacred function. So if I can put my ego, the part of me that, hey, I can do this, and I know how to raise money, and I know how to inspire and enroll people, which is a critical skill for manifesting dreams. If you want to master manifestation, you must master the skill of enrollment, your ability to talk to anyone, anytime, any place about your vision in a way that inspires them is critical. But what can happen is that our ego, our survival needs can hijack our soul, our heart, a higher level of creativity. And that's why I think sometimes it's valuable to say, well, what else? What else is possible as I'm dreaming this dream? If time and money were not issues, if I had the support of the people around me, if I knew I could not fail, if I could speak about my dream and vision or ideas in a way where others were inspired to help me or hire me or invest in me, and the obstacle called not enough money disappeared, what might be possible? So I was at a world-class university, a business school, and there's space for a new building, and it's right in front of the ocean. And I turned around and I saw my mystery school. I just saw what it would look like. And now that I'm learning that I can manifest like God, first, I don't want to be afraid of that. I want to see more, but I also want to check in with my own heart and soul. What's my right relationship to this dream? Is this dream supposed to happen here and now? Or am I seeing something 1,000 years or 100 years or 10 years from now? Is it mine to do, or am I dreaming it for somebody else? So I'm having lunch with the dean from the school this week. It happened like 1, 2, 3. And for me, that's often feedback that I'm onto something. And like I said, I don't know if it's for me or it's for them. And it's not the idea of just building this building as a mystery school, but to have a higher learning institute that teaches people how to dream. That's been a lifelong dream of mine. And if we can bring in some of the esoteric art, some of the unusual ways where it's not just about deductive reasoning and logic and math and science, but we can open more to connecting in and opening our hearts, that's a good thing. And I've been blessed because I don't know if it's because I'm a New Yorker. I don't know if it's because I've worked with 3 United States presidents, but I have a lot of credibility. So I'm not just hey, you can make your dreams come true. I'm not even necessarily get down on your hands and knees and pray for it. I'm the dream is a verb girl. But the time that I've taken away, and then with the added blessing of having quiet time to really go in and listen in the silence, different things are bubbling up. And by the way, I've also had to be patient, which is not my strong suit. But I have learned that big dreams come when they're ready. And sometimes it's because we are ready to receive them, or we are ready to witness them in another person, or we are ready to hold the space for this transformation to occur. But I feel very, very blessed that when I talk about dreams and then I back it up with language that's very practical and useful and acceptable, plus a few little credentials here and there, that I'm a credible resource. But so are you. If you're listening to this, you also have credibility in your world. And all of us, I have to imagine all of us, because it was true for me, at different times in our life, we dream small. Yeah. At different times in our life, we don't even have dreams. I actually think that's useful. We need some time to empty, to say no, thank you, to further morph into who we are becoming, and then to open our hearts and our third eye and our intuition and to dream, and then to articulate our dream with clarity and passion and inspire other people to join us. That's creating like God.
Amazing. So powerful. And I'm getting I read this somewhere one time, and it's always really stuck with me, is, clearing the runway so the plane can land. And so if we keep weather and interference and other, vehicles or whatever on the runway, then the plane can't come in. And that's really what I got when you were talking through that.
Shannon, did we cover everything we said? If you could just check the bullets, I'll give out the URL again for the.
We did, but
it's called the It's Time package. I'll just give it real quickly. dreamuniversity.com/guidely. You'll get 3 gifts. It's called It's Time because it is time. So there's a short workshop that I've done. There's an ebook that captures all 10 points. And then there's, I can't remember what the third, my newest TED Talk, which is called Why Dreaming is Not Enough. So if you haven't already received that package, please take advantage of it. It's my gift to you. There's no sales, anything behind it. It's for you to remember that you do have the ability to back with resources.
So thank you. I typed that into the comments too, so everyone who's commented or liked will get that notification. And I would like to end today, which this has been an incredible hour, and thank you for bearing with us on some of the tech issues and the sound to our audience.
And thank you, God, for not shutting us down.
I know. Is to really ask you, Guidely is a meeting place for coaches, mentors, guides, and those who are looking to embody their next level. And I'd love to hear about your experience working with a coach or guide, or your take on that relationship, just in a couple, minutes.
The most profound work that I had the privilege of doing was my one-on-one sessions with people who came to me as their guide or their coach. We called them visionary strategy days. And in the morning, I would help them dream the bigger dream. They'd come in with an intention. I would help them dream bigger dreams. And then in the afternoon, design the brilliant shortcuts for manifesting it. So they would, first of all, working with someone, because I also have had different guides and coaches at different times. I've had business coaches, and I've been a coach for other people. I was Jack Canfield's coach for many years. But the one-on-one work, whether I was working with someone or they were working with me, was profound. Because first of all, my ability to see someone, my God-given gift is I see potential, and I see where people are not living fully into their potential. Well, that's nice. But if I can give you practical tools, skills, and practices to help you more fully own your power, that's a great investment. I mean, I had one client who did 7 different days with me because we branded him. I helped him create a book. It made it to the bestsellers list. And he kept coming back because he said it was the best money that he ever spent. So I think working with someone who you trust, someone who's already done at one level what it is that you want to do, someone who has a track record is very, very critical, but also somebody who can draw the dream out of you. Often, we've got this to deal with. Right. So somebody outside of you who's holding a safe space and is going to coach or guide you into a larger possibility, I think it's a priceless and incredibly valuable investment.
Yes, so powerful. So in these one-on-one sessions that you experienced such, was there a common thread in this shortcut to manifesting their dreams? I think one last thing to leave our audience with.
A shortcut. Well, it helps to have a clear intention. And then I would listen for where are they out of integrity with their intention. But intention is the starting point. And I wouldn't have to do a lot of research into people's background or watch a lot of their videos or spend a lot of time looking at their promotional marketing material. Their intention is what we were working on. And I think it's one of the most profound tools for everyday life. Like, what's your intention for how you want the day to be? What's the intention for how you want your life to be? What's your intention for what kind of spouse or partner or parent you want to be? Intentional living. I mean, there's a lot of people who are talking about this and just this and have been for decades, because it really is the beginning point. And by the way, how about this? What's God's intention for you? Can you get receptive enough to listen? It's not always about us talking and telling and having all of the answers, but also being able to ask good questions and listen is an incredibly valuable practice.
So which,
by the way, that's what Guidely is all about, right? So if I can work with a guide or a coach who sees me differently than how I see myself, who can meet me where I am, that's a critical first step, but then can take me to places that I can't get to on my own, that's a very valuable investment.
Definitely. So my biggest takeaway today was the journaling with God, and I'm going to bring that into my personal practice. I invite our audience to do the same. I think it sounds really.
So here's a baby tip on that. Sometimes in the early phases, it feels like, well, aren't I just writing the questions and answers myself? Well, yes, because at one level there is no other. But if you can stick with the process, and sometimes you'll get a 1-word answer and sometimes you'll get 5 pages. But I recommend you have a journal that's just for that, and make it a ritual. So maybe you go to the same chair or light a candle each time that you do it, ritualize it. So it's not just part of everyday normal life. It's a higher level or a deeper level of conversation. And trust the process. Let it unfold, stick with it. And I'm sure after a while, it will become one of your favorite tools, just as it is. I just did it. Hang on. I was working with symbols that says truth. I don't know if it shows up backwards or not here.
Colors. No, it shows up perfectly.
Exactly. So I was working with this symbol, and then in my journal, I had a conversation with truth, because as this big dream bubbled up for me, what came up were my doubts, fears, and concerns. I thought to myself, I'm not who I used to be. And I heard, right, you're not. So.
Oh.
Am I still here?
No, we just blinked out for a second, and now you're dark, but I think I can hear you.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Am I back?
Yes, but the quality is very poor. So I think we'll
We'll say
probably
goodbye.
wrap.
We'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marcia. I think it's moving out. Thank you, Guidely. Thank you, Marcia's audience. What a great time we had. And congratulations on your next level. I'm so excited to see what's coming next and coming through for us and to us and by us.
Me too. Thank you so much, Shannon. I love this time with you. And thanks to everybody who took the time to listen.
Thank you.